We've already discussed the two main theories for being overweight, the fat fairy theory and the genetic theory. Genetic theory is also proposed as one of the main causes for diabetes, heart disease, cancer, ADHD, autism, and so on. Well, what we're going to do now is explain to you what genetics is all about and how it really works. At the end of this, you may be surprised to feel that perhaps the genetic theory is nothing more than a well-orchestrated campaign of lies, deceit, and misinformation by industries with a vested interest in making you sick, keeping you ill, feeling you don't have control, or just simply want you to consume their products no matter what the personal cost to you and your appearance, health, vitality, and enjoyment of life are. You'll discover that the way genetics is discussed by your doctor and in the media and the various alleged charity health organisations may be nothing more than a false and deliberate attempt to fool you. So you feel helpless and don't take personal control. We are going to do a very quick course in genetics. Genetics 101. Our genetics material is carried in our DNA. It's kept in the nucleus of our cells, and we as humans reproduce by sexual reproduction, i.e., two humans of the opposite sex get together and do the hunchky-crunchky, i.e., sexual intercourse. During intercourse, the male spurts sperm into the female. One of these lucky sperms swims faster than the other sperm and combines with a female egg. The combination of the sperm and the egg DNA that connect has an effect on the final outcome of the child. To a fair degree, how that child turns out will depend on how good a job that child has done at selecting his parents, his grandparents, his great-grandparents, his great-great-great-grandparents, and so on. It constantly amazes me what information is contained in genetic material. For example, my chickens live in an idyllic world of Chicken Garden of Eden. They're free range, and I grow them little special treats like this millet here.
We've got T-bone for breakfast today.
It's predator free. The only real problem they've had to deal with, well, when I'm late making them their morning popcorn or delivering their bowl of homemade yogurt. One day, the neighbour's dog, who regularly invites himself over for breakfast, visited. I'd left the back door open, and the dog walked out amongst the chickens. At first the chickens thought nothing of the visitor, then a chicken made a run for it. The dog's hunting gene kicked in, and the dog was off after my chickens. I tried to catch the dog, but could not. I foresaw a horrible fate for my beloved birds. To my amazement, these birds had probably never discussed the concept of predator, or had absolutely any reason to believe that such a thing even existed, and almost definitely probably never held a meeting to discuss and theorize the existence of such things as predators, or had sat there and developed a plan of action as to what to do if ever such a thing did actually exist and enter their Garden of Eden. To my amazement, the birds, in their genetic DNA, already had a preset plan on how to deal with predators. What the birds did was they took turns running in 6-second bursts to the next bird. That next bird would then take off in relay, and after about 2 minutes of this, the poor dog was totally exhausted and gave up the chase and came inside to eat his scrambled eggs. And I must say these chickens were far braver and handled the situation much better than most humans. If a giant predator 10 times our body weight started chasing us around, we as humans would probably scatter and panic like wildebeest. And we know what happens to wildebeest when they get chased by lions. They get eaten. In the community section of the chicken's DNA was a coding where they had programmed in them the need to work as a team and sacrifice for the greater good of the tribe. Even though chickens are descendants of the mighty bipedal dinosaurs, which is a totally different evolutionary branch to us mammals, who at that time were nothing more than rodents, going around eating dinosaur eggs, just like us primates, chickens groom each other, they have altruism, and grieve when there's a death in the family. For those who aren't up to speed with chickens, chickens that lay eggs are actually females. And just like human females, female chickens love nothing more than being held in a big strong man's arms and being gently caressed on the back of the neck. So these group animal behaviours were in the DNA code a long time ago. In fact, invertebrates, like worms, have identical stress hormones to us. And guess what? 70% of our DNA is in common with sea sponges. For the evangelist Christians getting a bit upset right now, you can say that God, all-powerful, all-knowing, in his infinite wisdom, decided to save time by using templated code as much as possible in the DNA. Oh yeah, this works, let's keep it. If I can keep a herd of brontosaurus together as a family by getting them to stroke and caress each other and produce oxytocin, I'm going to use the same hormone in chickens and humans and primates. Clever fellow, God. Now we're going to do Genetics 102 and see how environment and genetics interact. In fact, I'm going to use myself and my family as an example of how genetics works, as we are a little unique. First off, all males in my immediate family, i.e. my dad, his brothers, and my brothers are all over 6 foot tall, even though in our generation only 5% of males were 6 foot, i.e. 184 centimetres or taller. All of us are about 110 kilo and have XX or triple XL chests. Only 3 per thousand of the male population have size 13 feet. All my brothers, my dad and his brothers has size 13 feet. In fact, to make them a little bit more unique, we either have triple E or 4E whipped shoes, making our feet even more unique. And that's one reason why we as a family haven't pursued a career as Kmart sock and sandal models. As further power of genetics, there are very few blonde males. 3 out of 5 of my brothers are blonde, and 2 out of 3 males in my father's generation are blonde. So wow, our genes make us really tall and big. But interestingly, when I lived in Melbourne years ago, the local fruitier was a little 5 foot tall man with bowed legs, and had been one of the Italian immigrants that left Italy after World War II. Strangely, his sons were 6 foot 4, square angular jaws, broad shoulders, and in fact would have made good models for sculpting Italian gods. One day I asked him why the difference. Well, apparently when he grew up as a child in Italy, his family lived inside a cave and lived off moss. So within that range of genetic potential, I'm sure if my father or my generation had actually raised themselves in a cave living off moss, we'd probably be 5 foot tall with bowed rickety legs as well. But in terms of the power of genetics, to give you an idea, my son is so similar to my little brother that when I saw this photo on the wall at my mum's, I asked my mum where she took the photo of my son, to which she replied it was my little brother. In terms of female offspring from my parents, 100% of all females are blonde, tall, achieve academically and athletically, and yes, it's a myth that beautiful women are generally dumb. The world is a cruel place. Fact is, beautiful women are generally more intelligent. Why? What we humans consider beautiful is genetically encoded into our DNA. So beautiful women throughout the millennia have generally got to choose who they mate with. And in the female DNA is a selector where they tend to go for intelligent, athletic, warrior-type males for flings and affairs, and wealthy males, which is also part of intelligence, either for the offspring source or the food source for the offspring of their wild flings. So through the millennia, the offspring of attractive women, which is attractive by the genetic coding in our brain telling us what is attractive and what's always in the media as attractive, have tended for thousands of years to be able to have physically and aesthetically blessed children with a good food source to match the gene pool that they've selected from. The same applies for athletic males. A very common myth, the dumb jock. I did a research project on this way back in 1980, and the American President's Council did a study on this, and what they found was college level athletes perform 25% better than the average student. That is not to say that they're athletes that aren't necessarily rocket scientists, but overall athletic males perform better academically than non-athletic. Now please go to the next chapter, Genetics Part 2, and see how environment affects genetic expression. Here you will develop a full understanding of how genetics affects weight problems, intelligence, arthritis, diabetes, ADHD, cancer rates, and so on, and what you can do about it.